Hi
Right.
everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time stopping by, hey there, my name is Kelechi and I make videos around life in Germany, both for intending students, students who are already here, as well as job seekers and even expats who are already living in Germany, as a matter of fact. So if that's your kind of vibe, then be a part of our community by clicking on the subscribe button as well as on the notification bell. That way, when next I have a new video, you're instantly notified, okay? As you guys know, I already had the first video on this topic, like the immigrant life in Germany, because in fact, it's a series already, okay? So here I get to bring in people who get to like share their experiences with us with regards to their life in Germany so far, from start up until where they are right now, be that as students or otherwise. So if you'd love to hear more, if you'd like to know more, then you don't want to click out of here. So with me here today is Ogena, and she's also a Nigerian living in Germany, but I'm going to let her do the introduction by herself. So Ogena, you're going to tell us who you are, how you arrived to Germany, as well as your hurdles and challenges that you experienced upon arrival, and how you were able to sort them out ab initio.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here. My name is Ogena, and of course, she already said I'm a Nigerian living here in Germany. I came to Germany in 2019, just before the pandemic. I was here in September. I came as a student, and after studying, then of course did some internships, then started working. Um, my challenge when I first came, of course, is the initial shock of the stark difference in the way people behave back home as against
Yeah.
yeah, as against here. One the first day I came, I just remember this. The first day I came, I went to help somebody that nobody sent me to help. I saw an old woman. I saw an old woman. I went to carry her bag. That
Ah,
small thing would have called police on me that day.
ah,
Small thing.
etched. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, because I saw her, she was just struggling with her stuff. Home training just came outside from me. And I was
Yeah,
like,
help an
let me
elderly
help this woman. I
person.
just
I
went and
know.
said, let me carry this. And, it was like my second day in Germany. So, of course, I can't even say any word in German. And the
Mm.
woman was looking like, maybe I want to steal her
Like, are
bags or
you with
something.
me? Yeah. Oh my
It
god.
was it was terrible. But after that, at least I've learned now, okay, they did not ask you for help. Mind your
Mind
business.
your business. Simple.
Honestly. So the initial challenge for me was, for example, in school, um, switching from our kind of educational system to the kind of educational system here. Here where everyone expects you to plan yourself by yourself. You're in charge of. You're supposed to be responsible for your schedule, for your timing. Things like that. Nobody is going to be looking out for you to do that. Not like in Nigeria where we have timetables. This one is happening there. Your classmates probably, because you guys
Keeping
are
you
all together,
updated.
everyone is checking on each other. If they come to school today, this one, if you like, don't come.
Like nobody
If you like, don't show
cares.
up.
The only time they may probably be care about you is probably maybe when you guys have a group work you have to submit together and there's a part you have to write
Exactly.
then.
Exactly. And for me, I was the only black person in my class. So I was like almost really, really alone. So, a lot of times when you find that and I came very late. So
Mm.
cliques have already formed. Me, I was, I came out on my own doing
Yeah.
God knows what. And I didn't believe that I knew as much as I knew. Sometimes imposter syndrome is a real thing. When you come
True
here, you
that.
see other people coming from different parts of the world. You feel like these people, they know too much
Yeah.
than you do. So I had that initial imposter syndrome, but after like 1 week of discussing with these people, I just say, these people, it's just the big English that is it. So that is all bamboo. And one of the ways I was able to quickly overcome all of these initial issues was finding community quickly. So luckily, my husband, who at the time was my fiance, he was already here, and he had already known people, and stuff. So it was easy for him to
Mm.
introduce me to different people. So I was
Mm.
able to quickly build community. So that's
That's
my
really
initial
nice.
transition
Well, I,
into
I can I
Germany.
can
But
relate to the whole imposter syndrome thing. Even when I arrived first, I didn't know jack about the language, like nothing at all. And the first
mm,
time I got into German class, I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" Because Everybody seemed to have had some form of knowledge from where they were coming from, and they were all
Yeah.
like flowing and everything. And I was like, "Hey, are you sure I can do this?" So,
Do
but
this.
after a while,
True.
because I actually did A1 twice. So
Mhm.
by the second time, I felt like a lot more settled in, because I didn't start my masters like immediately I came. I went in to do the language and everything. So that initial
Which was very
time,
smart, doing
yeah,
the language school first
first,
is the
yeah,
best actually.
yeah.
Hmm.
So that was like the first shock for me, was like everybody around me is so smart. And what about myself? Like, how am I going to go? Anyway, speaking of adaptation and everything, so you also mentioned culture shock and stuff. So how are you able to? Is that your like biggest shock, the one you just explained right now, or did you have any other ones? And if yes, how are you able to manage them and generally just adapt to the social norms and the daily life in Germany?
Another shock I had was, well, will I call it culture shock? One thing is, before coming here, I understood that the lifestyle is not going to be the same. So
Mm.
of course, I was not like shocked. I was expecting to have
You're
a different kind
expecting,
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was expecting people to not be as open as we are back home. Back home, you greet everybody on your street even before you get to the bus. Here, your neighbor, you don't even know them. In fact, I'm living in an apartment now where my neighbor is really chill, and I was surprised. I was
You're
like,
surprised because it's not something you're used to,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because normally in my previous apartment, we stayed there for like 2 years, and I don't even know my neighbor. These things are not normal for us back home. It's a real shock. And then coming out like late in the night to maybe buy a quick snack, and you don't find anything to buy. Everybody's closed already. 10 o'clock, they are closed. Why are you closing your shop by 10 o'clock? Why? If you are not. But all these things are like weird things. But beyond the regular lifestyle, another shock I experienced was shock in the workplace. Where where in the workplace there's a lot of offices have very flat hierarchy, especially where you can even talk to. The most shocking one was calling your boss by his name. Hey
Tell
God,
me about
my
it.
chest. When I
Tell
got
me about it. Tell me about
when
it.
I
Like,
got my first office during my internship. So I got there. Of course, I had spoken to the boss for interviews, things like that. But I hadn't met him one-on-one. Now I got to the office. I was introduced by the HR people to my team, and then they're like, okay, the boss will be around maybe like the next day or that day. They're not very sure if he's coming that day and stuff. So while I was still in the office the next day, now my colleague in my team was like, that your guy has arrived. I was like, your guy, because I know I saw somebody enter the office. I was like, your guys, what do you mean by that? I did not know. They didn't even say your guy. They called him by his name. They said, don't call. Okay, let me just use a random name. They said Philip has arrived. I said, Philip. Who is Philip? They said Philip is our boss. You are using your full mouth to call your boss his name.
Don't have inside your mouth, as in.
I'm telling you.
It is
like,
just.
how do you do that? And by the way, how is it that your guy has entered this office and everywhere is normal? Like, all of you are just doing what you are doing.
Guy, that
Nobody
is
even
one
stood
very
up.
big shock. Sorry to cut you short. Just a couple of days
It's
ago,
okay.
I was at the Bundestag in Berlin. Do you know that I was outside? The Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, he actually passed with his 4, 5, what do they call them?
Yeah.
I've forgotten the English word for it, but they
Yeah,
were
like an entourage.
Yeah. Wasn't
Abi
it like
AIDS or something.
AIDS? Thank you, that's the word. I was like, it was even someone that pointed out to me like, come on. I was like, hey? I was shocked. Like, no noise, just 2 cars. I posted it on my Instagram story. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it even on your
I was like,
on your stories.
how is this man moving? And I'm not hearing wow. I'm
Nobody,
not hearing any noise.
they have not blocked road.
They have not blocked the road. Like, nobody is forming hitman on the road. Like, get out of the way.
Honestly.
Chancellor is moving. So they are really simple people by nature. I saw one meme some couple of days ago. Someone said working in a corporate, working abroad or something like that would make you have friends of your grandparents' age and calling them by their names. Like, some about, oh hey, I'm going for Bridget's 60th birthday. Like,
how dare you?
It's so
How
ridiculous.
dare you do that?
My goodness. Well, of course, we know you can't try it, you know where. But yeah, go ahead.
it's very alarming. Even the day I saw my boss in the supermarket, I did not believe it. I said,
Really?
so
You
Oga they
think
go
so
buy
simple?
things by himself.
You think
Hey,
they are
now
simple
wow.
shopping for you? Even priests in this country, priests do things themselves. They don't have people helping them.
Yeah.
People come to help them if they want to help them, but they don't pay people for
Mm-hmm.
that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it was really a shock for me as well.
It's
Even when I got admitted in school to like when the HOD, so that's what they don't call it HOD anyway, but you get my point. Like
mm,
the dean of our faculty, they were calling him by his name.
mm.
I was like, people don't have fear. Calling this man by
People
his
do,
name. No, I
people
have.
have confidence.
We have. No, I was calling him here, Professor. I did not know me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
speak in the beginning weeks, but later on,
Mm-hmm.
I got used to
Because
everything.
after a while, you find out you're the only person saying Mr. This or Mr. That. Then you don't want to be the odd
You
person
don't want
out,
to be the odd person
And
out,
then,
really, really.
yeah,
So like, but then
it's
with regards to all of these, like, how are you able to like basically adapt to these, and the social norms and everything, and just get on with your daily life?
first thing for me. I like I said earlier, I already know that this is not going to be the same like what I know before, and then understanding, telling myself that this. So for me, I already knew that I'm going to be here. If I want to work and live here, I need to understand how these people are and learn to adapt to it. So, for example, with my colleagues, I try to ask them questions. Why is this like this? Why do we do this way? So just to understand how this perceives things or how they see things and try to relate with them in that manner. So for example, at one time my colleague was like, why don't I look at people in the eyes when I'm talking to them? I was like, because this guy is like 50 something years. I was like, you're older than me. I can't be looking at you in your eyes when I'm talking to you when I'm talking to you. So the guy was like, why? I said, yeah, because back home we don't do that. It's disrespectful. Like even your
Oh,
mother will be like,
really?
close your eyes. Why are you looking at me
No,
like that?
no. I didn't grow up.
So
I didn't grow up not looking at people. I look at people in the eye when I'm talking to them. At home.
It will knock your head. My mother will be like, what? Why? Yeah, let me say she's talking to you and looking at her straight in the eye. She'll be like, come on, you want to beat me?
I've not heard this one before. Oh, okay.
You want to beat me or something? But then after discussing with him, he was like, no. That in fact, that for them it's a bit rude if you're not even looking at the person.
Yeah.
In the eye. So now I'm consciously looking at people in the eyes when I'm talking to them. So you see, for me, is largely understanding that I have to be here, I have to stay here, I have to work here, I have to thrive here. So I have to learn and make sure that the people around me are not uncomfortable. So I know not to just call somebody randomly.
Yeah.
I know to say, okay, of course, except it's our Nigerian person, I just call you. That one is the one that I know.
If you're not available,
But
tell me
if
not
it's like
available.
tell me highest you say you're not available, highest you will not pick the call. Hey, you cannot pass like that. But if it's for Germans or say people who were born here, however it is, I understand that this is what they expect, and I don't just call them up. Except the person has opened that door.
Exactly. Then you can always
And then, of course, with the thing of respecting people's time, especially within the work environment. So after work, you're not calling somebody for work, which I found very, very interesting and really beautiful. But you don't call somebody after work to ask them work-related questions. Like back home.
Even when you're on holiday back home.
I'm telling you, in fact, at some point when I was in Nigeria, I had to start putting my phone on. Like you don't know when I read your message on store because my God will send you message anytime.
What's that?
Honestly, but that's what we are used to, and that's what the culture back home has encouraged and enforced.
It has encouraged. That's a good word because it's not normal. It's not a norm. It shouldn't be a norm.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Speaking of work and career, I'd like to know, like, how has your career progressed since you moved to Germany, and what opportunities and challenges would you say you have encountered professionally? All right.
Okay, in terms of career, it's been going great. I've had really low times, and I've had really great times. What I found to be very helpful in my case was that, first of all, before I came to Germany, I already have a lot of work experience. Let me not say a lot. Someone would think maybe I've gotten 100 years. It's just 5 years. I've worked in Nigeria for like 5-6 years already before coming to Germany. So that already gave me an extra push And then during studies, I went for an internship. I did an internship for 6 months. Then I transitioned into a work student. Then after that, after studies, I got a job in a different city, which is where I learned a few lessons. Now, the lesson is that a lot of times when we are discussing about experiences that we have from back home, we talk about it like it's not good enough, like we don't do well. But I've learned that actually we do really well. And a lot of us know even much more than the people that we consider to be super, super bright. So we actually do a lot, which was really great. But another thing was, like my first job after internship, I didn't have enough information as regarding, say, salaries. So my negotiation for my salary was not so great. I did a very terrible job in that regard. When I was talking to someone said, why didn't you just Google, do glass thing? Now, the difference with my own case is that my profession as a lighting designer is not like very new, but it's probably, let me just say 50 years. It's not so common. If someone tells me about a lighting design firm, for example, in Germany, I probably know it. That's how few we are. So there's not much information really.
Sorry
If you
to
Google,
cut you
if you do
short.
some.
Like, okay, well, finish up, then I'll get to ask you. Sorry to interrupt you.
So there's not much information so if you do like a Glassdoor search, you won't find. Not that you won't find, but you won't find enough information.
Sufficient, yes.
Sufficient, exactly. And then the way a lot of people don't talk about salaries. So when you call somebody to say what do you think should be a good salary, the person's like, I cannot tell you anything, or negotiate what you think is good for you, which is not good advice. Because when I did negotiate my first salary, it was terrible. It was so terrible that House Standard Beholder refused to change my visa status from student to a work visa status. And I went through all of that hassle, going back and forth. In the beginning, I thought they were just picking on me, So I even had to involve lawyers. It was crazy. Wow. But eventually, I understood that no, they expect that with your qualification, with your experience, with that, you shouldn't be earning less than this. And I'll say it was a good thing and a bad thing. It was a bad thing because, of course, I didn't have that information, so I didn't know. So I didn't know how to, do my own good negotiation. But it was a good thing because it pushed me out of that place. I was forced to then begin to search for jobs. Yeah. And which gave me a very good job now that I'm working in. A job that I don't think I could have ever gotten. And what they pay here, I can never get it anywhere. So it turned out to be a really good thing at the end of the day. But some people might not be that lucky, So I would say in my own experience, it has been good. But yes, there's been some low times and there have been some really good times. But lots of experiences learned anyway.
I can imagine. So, but curious to know, like, was this like what you were bargaining for and everything for the Outlander Beholder to have rejected your application to change your residency permit? Was it like below the Mindestlohn?
It was below. Okay, what I was offered was 2,500 brutto. And even you, it shocked you back. So yeah, it was terrible. But out of ignorance, I was like, and besides, the negotiation at the time was that I start out with this, and the next 6 months would renegotiate because of course my German is because my German was bad. So, which is another thing, to learn German to be able to also put your foot down.
Yeah.
My German was bad, so it was part of the things that were like, your German is not even so good, so you can't even talk to clients as much as we would want you to. So it means you would be doing mostly design work, just sitting in the office doing design work, while somebody else would have to go present your design to customers and stuff. Which in my mind I was like, okay. Although I had another offer, to be fair, I had a different offer from a different company in a different state in Stuttgart, and they offered 3,005 or 3,006, I can't remember. But I didn't take that offer because Stuttgart is a very expensive city.
Yeah, you end up.
So in my mind, I was doing the math that if I'm earning my brutto is 3,000. If I remove all the expenses for rent or living expenses is very high in Stuttgart, because
Mm-hmm.
that was where I did my internship. And
Oh,
in 1 year I was living in Stuttgart, it was
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
So for me, it didn't make any sense. Now, in the other city where I got the 2005, which I took, it's a very small city. Wuppertal is really cheap. Living cost is super low. In fact,
Mm.
while I was even working the job at the time, it was good. I mean, I was able to still save a lot, and my accommodation was really low when compared to what I was paying
In
in
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart.
Mm.
Yeah. So at some point I was even feeling so bad, like if I had known, I would have even taken that other job. By now I would have changed my visa. By now I would have done this, and all that stuff. Because with 3,500 you can definitely change your visa. But with
Okay.
2,500 you can't change your visa with a master's degree.
Degree.
But this I didn't know. Plus the company was a very small company, and I was looking at, I want to work with a design office. I didn't want to work in an engineering company. So my profession is a bit
Dynamic.
somehow. You can work in a design office, you can work in an
So
architectural
what's your
in
discipline
an architecture.
exactly? What's your discipline?
I do architectural lighting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so with
Interesting.
architectural lighting, you can work in an architectural firm. You can work in, my background is architecture, of course.
Oh,
So of course I could work as an architect. You can work in an engineering company, so where they also
mm,
do design as well. You can work with a manufacturing company, where usually you make a lot of money. If you're working in a
mm,
manufacturing company, it's usually the best. But
mm.
I didn't want to work in a manufacturing company. I wanted to work in a design studio where
Okay.
I would actually learn the work itself, and then I can progress from there. This was my own thinking at the time.
At the
Start with a
time.
design studio, get a lot more experience within this lighting field. You can then transition to maybe an engineering or manufacturing. But it did not work, my sister. It did not work. Lesson learned.
You're
But
right.
it was a good experience. The office in itself, I learned a lot. It was a good experience, I would say. And eventually all of that back and forth forced me to get certain information, like for example,
Mm.
knowing exactly what the thresholds are,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then understanding my negotiating power, because in my, a lot of times you don't give yourself a lot of credit. So
Speak out.
all of this gave me some
Give you sense.
ginger to say,
Yes.
Abba now, Abba, you can
Yeah.
do better than this. So the next time I was talking about salary, I was able
It's on your
playing with
full
it.
chest. Yeah, with your full chest. Like charge your words and even add taxes on top of it. Like
Exactly,
very important.
exactly.
Very nice. Nice.
So
Nice.
finally, now I work in a manufacturing company, so which is definitely a lot better. I still do design work there. I work with in aviation, so I still
Okay.
do
Very
design work
nice.
there, but um, definitely very far cry from what it used to be.
Nice. It's in Hamburg, yeah, yeah. Hamburg
Yeah, it's in Hamburg.
is big for such things. Yes, I can relate.
Mm.
Nice. Now to the interesting part. I'd like to know your milestones. Like, could you share some of your most rewarding experiences or successes since moving to Germany? I mean, despite your initial hurdles, culture shocks, and what have you?
Hmm. My biggest success for me is getting this job that I'm at,
I can
because
imagine. I can
it is
imagine.
because this job I saw shit.
And it's a permanent contract, huh?
Yes, it
Nice.
is, and
Nice.
it's amazing. I wouldn't ever have thought that I could work with this kind of people. You know, for me, it's really big. I went through 5 different interview stages. It's crazy. And
Five.
then even
Mhm.
now, when I meet
Wow.
some people and some people within like the design field, they too, a lot of these people are super experienced. I've seen some of their works; they are really great, and they tell me they applied for this job as well. And I'm telling myself, you know. So for me, it's a very big milestone and a very big win. Say if tomorrow night I will start working in this office tomorrow, I
So
can beat
it's
my chest
CV,
and say,
girl. Like it's going to be
You know,
like
I was
serious flex for you. Like I worked
saying
here.
big
Come on,
flex, you
put
know,
some respect on my name for God's sake.
put some respect on it. And
Nice.
what was really impressive for me was during my interview stages, the boss, um a lot of their focus was even more on the works I have done in Nigeria, which I found very interesting.
Mm.
You know, a lot of times they're like, "Oh, you did this. Oh, this is really cool. Oh, you did this. Oh, this is really cool." So for me, it was I, I still find it very overwhelming. Some people don't understand. Some people, anytime I'm telling someone, they're like, "I'm saying this thing too much," but I still find it really, really overwhelming. So for me, that's my biggest milestone. But
Nice.
beyond that, there have been some other small things on the side. Of course, I've been able to build a lot of network in terms of the Nigerian community, which I found really, really, really important, because
Mm.
sometimes a lot of us come here and we detach ourselves from the Nigerian community. I don't think it's a good thing. And for me, I think it's a big milestone that within the Nigerian community, anywhere that I know I've lived in, or if somebody calls my name, people can identify and say, I know this person. I consider that a very big milestone. It's not like he's paying me money or anything, but it's good.
It's
I
human
feel that it's
currency.
good that within,
Yeah.
yeah, that it's within a community that you're able to do that. Other milestones would be, of course, being able to study, and after studying, then start working.
Yeah.
Some people
It's a
might see
big
that
deal.
the regular is a
It's
normal
all regular,
transition.
girl. Not
Yes, not
regular.
everyone finishes school and starts to work. Some people
It's all regular.
go back to where they're coming from.
True.
Not that going back is a bad thing. Some people want to go back and they
Want to
do
go
go
back.
back.
Some want to
But
go
some
back. Some
people,
don't want to go back, but they have to go back. Yes, I can
yes,
imagine.
exactly. So being able to finish transition and then begin to work, I find that to be a very big thing. Another
Mm.
super big one for me that's really close to my heart is that, based on a lot of things I've learned here, I've been able to collaborate with people back home in Nigeria to start up small businesses here and there. So, for
Mm.
example, we have an edtech startup where we are training people on different fields within the AEC industry. So AEC is architecture, engineering, and construction industry. So we train for several other things. We are recruiting both teachers and then building a big community. We are focusing largely within the
Nice.
sub-Saharan Africa, but we're hoping to expand. So for me, it's super big that I'm able to translate what I have learned into something tangible beyond just what affects
Yeah.
just me. So I'm
Yeah.
able to translate that to knowledge that I can share with other people, and also do some sort of mentorship, for these people. So for me, this has been my milestones.
It's really nice. I mean, I love it for you. Like, a focused queen. I stand. Nice. Really
Thank
nice.
you.
Nice, nice. So, just by the way, this wasn't planned to be asked, but are you considering? I mean, with the whole new law, immigration law in Germany, are you considering going to get a German citizenship anytime soon, or do you have plans to
Of
go back
course.
home? Okay.
Of course. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't, if it's available,
Right.
because clearly it doesn't stop me from still being a Nigerian. In fact, even
Mhm.
if they say you have to leave your Nigerian passport, I'm gonna
Don't
leave
say
it.
it. Don't say it.
I'm-
Don't say
Yes, because the reason is that
it.
the passport is a passport. Tomorrow, if I go back to Nigeria, nobody will tell me you're not Nigerian. If I have the passport or I don't have the passport, I'm Nigerian, and that's it. Nobody can take
That's
that
a
away from me.
period. I know. Yes, of course,
Exactly.
definitely.
So of course I will. I look forward to doing that, because the German passport gives you more opportunities. As
Yeah.
much as we don't like to say that, but it's the truth.
Who doesn't
There are
like to
so
take
much
that?
more
It's the
doors.
truth.
Yeah, there's so much doors you open with a German
Yeah.
passport. For example, for work, I have to travel all the time. Now, a lot of times when you talk about traveling to certain places, I'm already saying, "Hey God,"
Yeah.
I'm already telling them, "Guys, we need
Visa.
to plan. Are you people going here or not? We need to
Yeah.
plan this on
Ahead of
time, because I
time.
need to get visas." And the first time I said it, somebody was like, "Why do you need to get visa?" I'm like, "My brother,
Duh.
you don't you don't know what God has done for you, that the
I know,
passport you
right?
have is burgundy."
I know, right? Does like emphasis on
Yeah,
burgundy. Oh my goodness. Emphasis on burgundy, sis.
Honestly.
Tell me about it. I also remember one
uh,
trip that I was supposed to go on with some colleagues of mine when I was doing my IT. It was IT, yeah. They were going to the UK. Bruv, UK. Oh. The fact that we had to apply for passport visa, he just told me it's like if you wait,
you,
let us go and come back.
you,
He paying me. He pay me really, as
the
in,
stress is too
like
much,
it's too
man.
much. It's very unnecessary. But
Too much.
yeah, like no matter how much anybody wants to deny it, it definitely opens lots of doors for you as a
Mhm.
foreigner, even as Germans themselves. Like once you have the
Yeah.
pass, anything is possible. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
even in building even your wealth here, it opens
Honestly,
another
opens
extra level
exactly.
for you.
That's very true. All right, now one last thing before we go, like what do you have to say to what advice would you have to give to new immigrants to help them navigate their life generally in Germany, with regards to challenges that they could experience, culture shocks, and to enable them make the most out of their experience, out of their life here in Germany.
I'll start with before they even come safe, before they even
Mm,
relocate to Germany.
okay.
I'll start by saying to plan from the
Mm,
beginning. Like already know that this is the target, this is what we're headed for,
yeah.
and this is how we want to go, for that. Then when you do come, begin to execute that plan as quickly as possible. The
Mm,
first thing would be, I'll say, start learning German. My biggest regret I still have now is not starting to learn German the moment I got into Germany.
mm,
So my advice for especially those who are coming, for example, for studies and are studying
mm.
in English, is to forget the fact they are studying English.
It can be
Register
very
for a language
distracting.
school.
Yes, it can be
Yes, it
distracting.
can be very distracting. And the biggest thing is that the longer you're staying, the more difficult it is to
Yes,
learn.
to learn.
My friends used to make jest of me when I say that learn German, because I don't speak German,
Till now.
and I kept saying start learning from immediately come and start learning. I say that because that has been my experience, that the
And I don't
longer
want you
it's
to make
taken,
the
the
same
more
mistake. Yeah.
difficult it is to then begin to learn, especially once you are beginning to settle into English things. I've always worked in English. So my internship, I worked in English. I was just fortunate. My first job where they do me Dagbo things. I was, I was working, even though the job was in German, but they allowed me to work in English. This is why I don't hold anything against them. I really appreciate what they did for me. The beginning of the work, they were willing to let me work despite my limitations in the language, which put a
Language.
lot of work on other people within the office, because they were
Mm,
beginning to they had to do work that I should have done by myself. So I really appreciated that. And then now my work is completely in English, so it's even much more difficult to have to
yeah.
put in the extra commitment to learn
Mm,
that language.
yeah.
Then the next thing is community. I'm very big on community, because I feel like everything that you would experience, somebody has already experienced it within the community.
Yeah.
It's then to find that person, and you only find that person by connecting with people, talking to
True.
people. People
True.
are much more open than we assume in our minds.
Yeah.
A lot of people are much more willing to share their experiences, share their resources, share their network if they can, than we assume
Think.
when we are just sitting back in our houses. So network for me is really big. But beyond networking within the community, your own community, say Nigerian community, for example, it's also networking outside of that community.
Mm-hmm.
So network
Mm-hmm.
with people who have, maybe they might not be white, maybe they are people of color, but they've been here for so long that they understand the system a lot better. So it's good to network with. So for me, I'm always, when you hear anything, black people wanting, people of color wanting, I'm there, because I want to meet these people. They've been here long, 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 long. They've
Yeah.
probably been born here. They understand not just the system, they also understand the biases that we as maybe immigrants face. They might not understand it holistically, but they have a little bit of
Honestly.
understanding. Probably their own parents were immigrants, or they came here as young people and they had that initial struggle. Then the next set of networking is then networking outside of this immigrant community. People
Yeah.
who are actually Germans, people you know, so network within all the relevant places and build that. I think that's super, super important. And then, like, the mistake I made with not negotiating salaries well is to not hurry in saying yes. Take time, make research, find that's the thing with then asking questions, talking to people within the community to say sometimes it might be difficult to find settings. So for example, I met a marine engineer some days ago. You don't find a lot of marine engineers. They're very, very limited. So it might be difficult for that person to communicate with another marine engineer to get that information. But it's still some information that you get anyway if you are able to talk to these people. So find as much information as you can and try to be ahead of the curve. So what you need to do it. Don't wait until it's that time. So if you need to learn, for example, I usually relate everything to my own field as a designer. If you need to learn a software, learn it. Don't wait until when you want to look for a job. Then after say, this company they want you to do the hand. Then it's that time you also gonna start learning the software. By then you cannot. There's a limit to how much you can confidently defend that.
Yes.
But if there are things you already know that within this field that I am in, this is what I need. Do it already. So for me, I'm always telling like people who tell me they're coming to Nigeria, to Germany for study or whatever. My first question is: do you intend to go back or do you intend to stay here? If you intend to stay here, live like you intend to stay here.
Yeah.
Do your whatever you're doing like you intend to stay here. So be responsible for your own growth, and beyond the responsible for your own growth, guard the kind of thoughts that people will share with you. So there are certain people that just tell you, say, black people is only laga work they can do. Those kind of people should not even be in your circle. Cut them off. They're not serious people. Honestly. Once anybody is giving you that advice, just give the person enough
telling you that the only way you can make it, maybe if you're just entering, that you should go and marry a white person for you to become a citizen. Like, it's just crazy.
Those people should not be in your circle because those people are clearly not serious people.
Not serious.
Let me not say they're not serious people, but
they're
that's
their
worldview.
That's their worldview, exactly. And except you share the same view with them, then you should find your way out already.
Yeah. So all those kind of people should not be having this kind of conversation. The conversation you should be having is what can we do to be better? What can we do to thrive? What can we do to do this? People are doing businesses. How can we do that? Ask this kind of important questions. Not having conversations on when is the next party we're having. Those kind of things. While they are important, while they are very important because we need to socialize and we need to also relax. But we should know what is the most important. Know what you call here, can't do it. Not for me to come and be church. Just know the goal. Focus on the goal and just
eyes on the prize. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very, very much. I mean, this is like really insightful. In fact, I think I'm going to caption this episode "Career and Salary Negotiation" because it's giving what it's supposed to give, really. And I watched your video the other day on what's a good salary in Germany. I think it's amazing as well. Like, you did a good job breaking everything down. So yeah. Thank you so much again.
Because I'm still again now. That's why I have to get all these things. Every year now, I'm getting reports. I'm saying this is what people are earning. Am I
are you
up to am I within the range?
Important, yes.
I'm not even looking to be earning what the average people are earning. A lot of the reports they tell you the low ends, the middle ends, and the high. It's the high end I want to be looking at. People are earning 100 and something plus. Where am I? And if I want to do that, what am I doing next? Do I need to go for extra trainings? Things like that. For me, things that
it's really important, and grateful that we're able to have this conversation today. It was really eye-opening, not just for me and for a lot of people I believe who are watching this right now. So many thanks to you.
One more thing that I don't remember. Let me just add it. I know we have taken more than our time, but let me add this. What I wanted to add was that we should not be afraid to start small, because sometimes sometimes we feel like how many years experience I'm bringing to the table. I'm not supposed to be doing this. While we are talking about negotiating. Talking about negotiating the good salary for yourself. You should not overlook the possibility of growth, even from a small place.
Exactly.
Start first and then continue to expand from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, as opposed to just sitting down waiting. They tell you that they're going to pay you, let's assume they say 30,000. That will not change your visa, for example. But be using it first to be gathering experience while you are scouting to get the job
But
that you
but
actually need.
what's an average of the kind of salary that the outlet beholder can use to change your visa? Like from what amount do you know in a year?
So it depends on the field that you're in. I have a link actually that tells you
Okay.
per state
You could
the
send it to
different
me and
amount.
I'll
So
gladly put
depends
it
on the
in.
field
Yeah.
that you're in. I'll send you the link and you can put it in the description box as well. So
Okay.
if you are in engineering, for example, it's completely different from somebody who is in medicine or someone who is
Mm,
probably a photographer. So it depends on the
mm,
field, the state,
mm,
and
and all
and
of that.
sometimes the scoring that is in the head of the person that is attending to your case.
Oh, but that thing is even the number one. Let me lie. Eh,
Hon-
that thing is number one.
Honestly,
Their mood depends.
yeah,
It has a lot of. I mean, it's a huge factor
because
if you like
sometimes you
to
have to go
talk.
and actually check the law and see what the law says and attach it to your email to tell them that based on this I had to do
I know
that
what
at
I'm
some
talking
point.
about. Yes.
Yes, I'm entitled to this. At some point they were tell me nonsense. I went to go and find it or I quoted the place for them. I said this is what the law says. Then they finally answered, but now they know that you know what you're
You
talking
know what
about.
you're talking
You
about.
cannot fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing about moving to a foreign place. Even in your own fatherland self, you gotta know what's up in the law. Like you have to know so
Mm-hmm.
that when you're talking with evidence. When you're bargaining for
Evidence,
something, you're
exactly.
bargaining with evidence. Because true, sometimes some people maybe either they are new or like you said,
Mm-hmm.
some things are not really very correct at the time in their brain. They will just,
Mm-hmm.
tell you anything to shift you one side. But if you really know your onions, you tell them, hey, this is what it is, okay? This is what I want, and
Exactly.
this is what I'm entitled to more like,
Too.
then they would
Mm-hmm.
actually attend
In
to
a
you.
nice way, of course,
Of
because
course,
if you go
hello.
if you go say it's my right, that's okay. Let's
It's
see.
okay now. Let me shall see. No, definitely. Like you have to be polite about it. I mean, as polite as you can be
Mm-hmm.
because they are still in the authorities, whether you like it or yes.
Yeah,
You understand? So yeah.
true.
Thank you so much again. I really appreciate your time once
Thank you.
more. So maybe you could do the outro for us and then we call it a day.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a very fun discussion.
Yeah,
And
sure.
guys, let's subscribe if you have not
Ah,
subscribed. What
I
are you
forgot to
doing?
mention. See, why is it that even the last lady that came here, they too forgot to mention she had a YouTube channel. Ogena has a YouTube channel, you guys. Please, I'm going
Hmm.
to be leaving her handle here once in a while. Please go and subscribe. And the description,
Thank
the handle will be in the description box as well. She drops lots of gems on her channels, on her channel.
you.
Please, so go and check it out. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
So,
you.
guys, thank you too. Talk to you guys some other time. Bye.